you sound shaky on the phone call and you sound like you are not confident on a phone call, your client is not going to want to buy from you. Tone, pacing, and control is everything. Everything. So if you're just showing up on a sales call, you're like, Jalon, I presented to the client. I did everything I needed to do. I went through the presentation. I want to think about it. I guarantee you guys it's because of how you're delivering the message. You have to show up as a figure of authority on the phone call. Welcome back to another episode of Close Academy. Guys, so today I have a good one for you guys, okay? We have a good one for you all. And today we're going to talk about the 4 fundamentals to help you close more deals. The 4 fundamentals to help you close more deals. And these fundamentals are things that we talked about before, but I felt like it was really good for us to go over and hit it from a different angle. We've been talking about the discovery for the last 15 to 20 episodes. We're always focused on that. And believe it or not, that is going to be a part of the fundamental, but we're not going to overly focus on it today. I want to give you guys 4 things that I believe if you implement these things today, it can help you increase your sales. And Tony, you don't know I haven't brought these 4 fundamentals to you today, but if we're in alignment like we always are, I got a feeling it's going to be a good call. All right?
Good lineup.
All right. So fundamental number 1, you got to have an effective discovery. Okay. From rip, have an effective discovery. When it comes to the discovery, guys, it is very, very important for us to understand it is my job, our job, to get the client to confess out of their mouth what their problem is, what their needs are, what their concerns are, and their challenges. It is not my job to tell them what those issues are. And a lot of times, Tony, from us listening to recordings, we hear a lot of agents taking the power away from the client to confess what they are having an issue with. You see, the scripture does not say, you tell the client what their issues are and they'll be healed. It says, confess your faults one to another so you can be healed. The entire reason why people go to therapists or they go to counselors is because they need to confess something. And if that counselor is sitting there and they are telling that client what their issue is, they are doing that person a huge disservice. So the discovery, how to have an effective discovery is by figuring out these 4 things. I'm going to repeat them to you again. Number 1, get your client to confess they have a problem. Get them to confess their needs. And get them to confess their concerns. And get them to confess their challenges. So by the end of your discovery, if you do not know these 4 things, if you have not got these clear 4 things from your client, your discovery was not that good. So again, the question is, what is the client's problem? What is their need? What are their concerns? And what challenges have they been facing by trying to put a policy in place? Number 2, speak to the client's ideal identity. Ooh, I know this is some of y'all probably like, what do you mean by that, Jalon? Speak to the client's ideal identity. What I mean by this is when you figure out those 4 things we just talked about in a discovery, your client would tell you ideally who they see themselves being. So I want to be able to take them from where they are to take them to where they see themselves being. And I want to speak to that person that they just confessed. Once I address the issue and address the problem and everything like that, I don't want to keep them in that frame. Like, I don't want to keep them in that identity. I want to be able to take them to them saying, when they say things like, yeah, Jalon, I experienced a funeral 5 years ago and I lost my grandmother who passed away and she had no life insurance in place and it left us financially devastated. And I just want to make sure that my son does not have to experience the same thing that I dealt with years ago. And I don't have any life insurance, but I want to make sure that my son is squared away. We just figure out what the problem is. We figure out what the issue, what the challenge is. We figure out what the concerns are. We figured out all that stuff. Now, when he expressed these things to me, I want to speak to him as the person when he said, Jalon, I just want to make sure that my son does not get left with the same financial burden same financial burden that I was left with. And guess what I'm going to do? Because the discovery revealed these things to me, all I have to do now is affirm and speak to the person he sees himself being. I want him to make decisions from that person, from that state of mind, not the state of mind as the person that he is right now. Because if he makes decisions as the person as he is right now, y'all, there's not going to be a decision at the end. Right? There's not going to be a decision at the end. That's why when an agent comes to me, Tony, okay, the first thing that I do is I ask them, what do they want? What is the goal? What is the vision? What do you want to accomplish? And guess what? Nadine, let's say an agent is only doing $5,000 a month in sales, and they're like, Jalon, I really want to get to $20,000 in income. Okay, guess what I'm going to do? I am now going to hold you to the standard of someone at $20,000 a month. I am not going to hold you as the standard of someone at 5,000. So that's going to come with me challenging you. That's going to come with me pushing you a little bit past your comfort zone because your comfort zone is your broke zone, right? So guess what? The same way that I would deal with an agent and holding them accountable to what they said they wanted and challenging them, guess what? I'm doing the same exact thing with my client. Oh, Mr. John, you don't want to leave your son with a financial burden? Okay. Thank you for showing me your vision and what you want to accomplish. I am now going to hold them accountable to that. And I'm going to affirm them. So that affirmation is going to sound something like this. Mr. John, that's incredible. The fact that we're on this phone call today tells me you've already thought about this thoroughly and you want to make sure that your son's not left with that financial burden. I can respect that as a man. I'm going to keep affirming him throughout that process and affirming that identity until it's embedded in his mind. Because if I keep speaking to him based off who he is right now, y'all, he's not going to make a decision. Okay. Tony, anything on that?
Great point. That's the whole reframing aspect of everything is good. Y'all have to realize what he just said there is probably the key component mentally for you to realize as an agent. He said it more than one time. If we stay where they are, they're going to stay where they've been. There's nothing that's going to change. You've got to realize if these people were, and I'm saying these people because they're our clients and I love them and you know that, if you don't change anything, they're going to keep doing what they've always done, which is that's why they're 72 and they don't have life insurance.
Correct.
If they were prudent, if they have the capacity to think ahead, if they plan for disaster, if they thought through logically, I guess if you want to look at it that way, financial decisions, we all wouldn't be employed. So let's not get it twisted. They're a different mindset than what you think, and trying to logic them into anything is not going to work. So you've got to switch that and get it. What Jalon's saying here is huge on changing it into they filled out the form. That's the bottom line. You're having the talk. They've taken the step. Don't let it go any further than that. Yes, there's going to be pushback. Yes, they're going to do it. They're not just going to waltz into it. You're asking them, somebody who's overweight and hasn't exercised, and now they're in the gym. Correct. Okay, that's the first step. They haven't got a membership yet. They haven't started exercising yet, but they're there. So the first step, your job is to get them the rest of the way.
Correct.
That's a good analogy. 100%. I just came up with that.
No, that was good. The gym analogy was incredible, right? Like somebody go and they start working out and things of that nature. They already made it known that they want to change their life because they showed up to the gym, right? And then they get in a personal trainer. Guess what that personal trainer is going to do every single day? They're going to hold that image up of who they said they want to be, and they're going to paint that vision every single day. So when they get on the fifth set and the 13th rep and they're not trying to keep pushing, guess what? Oh, you gonna quit on your future self, right? And guys, I want you guys to understand this. Cheryl mentioned something earlier about, she didn't use this phrase, but I'm paraphrasing. Essentially, she said she was afraid of challenging her client, right? Challenging her client and challenging like the way he was thinking. Guys, that is what the client needs.
Right.
That is what they need. They want to sit in their comfort zone. They want to not pay for a policy. Agents, they want to sit in their comfort zone. They don't want to do anything that's going to challenge them. You have to be okay with challenging your client's thought process. And the way that you can simply do that without being disrespectful, right? If a client is 72 years of age and he has no life insurance, right? And he's still hitting you with, well, yeah, I want to think about it. Lord Almighty, right? Respectfully, Mr. John, what is it to think about, right?
Respectfully, are you out of your ever-loving mind? What is wrong with you?
Yeah, literally, you better hope God gives you a few more days, right? But y'all, you don't want to say it that way. Your tonality has to be on point, right? So in that instance, just to challenge them, Tony, you can kind of give them what you will say, and I give them what I'll say for a 72-year-old who said they still want to think about it, right? So if a client hits me with it, they're 72 years old, they have no insurance in place, and they waited this long, and they say, yeah, I still want to think about it. For me personally, I was to say this. Got it, Mr. John. So help me understand this a little bit better. You're 72 years of age. You have no life insurance. You said you want to make sure that your family is taken care of. What exactly do you need? What else do you need to think about? Right? Like that's how I would say it. What exactly? I just repeated everything they told me that they wanted to do, their problems, their concerns, their primary challenges, all this different stuff. What exactly else do we need to think about? Is everything you mentioned actually, was that something you were actually serious about? It's okay to challenge your client's thinking and thought process, right? I was at Cedar Point last week with my nephew and my nieces. Okay. And me and Mike, we have this saying called a broke thought, a broke thought. All right. Now, when I go to Cedar Point, I always get the fast passes. Always. I never go to an amusement park because I don't like waiting in line for 45 minutes to 75 minutes to ride a dang roller coaster. Usually, when I go though, probably paying for myself and like one other person. I had to pay for four folks. And these tickets already cost $50 to get into the park. I'm like, okay, cool. These children, they good. They just run around, do what they need to do. But then I'm like, I want to ride a ride. But I can't get a wristband. I can't get a wristband and everybody else don't got no wristband because I'll be going through the rides like 4 or 5 times. So guess what I did? I walk into the amusement park, we get into the ride, we start walking in the line. Guys, I kid you not. The sign says 60 minutes for us to wait. We start walking in the line, walking down a little, walking through it. Before I even stopped my feet, I looked at my nephew and nieces. I said, all right, we about to go get these dang fast passes because I am not, Jalon, I am not waiting 65 minutes to wait in those dang line. Guess what I did? I went up, paid $200 for the fast pass tickets for everybody, spent like $1,000 for it. It's okay. Money's a tool. Guess what? We had a good time. I was emotionally invested into riding those roller coasters in a very short period of time, y'all. Right? So
Word.
the reason why I'm saying this, y'all, is because my nephew, my niece actually is the one who like looked at me and said, Jalon, she said, Uncle Jalon, do we really have to wait in this line 60 minutes? Do we really have to do this? And she pulled on my emotional heartstring. And I'm like, all right, no, baby, we don't have to wait in this line for 60 minutes. If you want a fast pass, yes, go get a fast pass. I'm sharing this, guys, because my niece challenged me. She challenged my broke thought. She challenged me. She's 12 years old. She challenged me. And guess what? We got the freaking fast passes. We had a great time. And I woke up this morning and that $800 was back. Sorry to stay on that for so long, but I want you guys to understand how important it is to make sure that you are framing the identity of your client when you're on the phone call with them. You cannot frame the identity of a client though if you do not discover what their problem, their need, their challenges are, and their concerns. You can't frame it. Number three, be a figure of authority. Okay, be a figure of authority. We are on a call right now, and we are going through the four fundamentals of closing more deals. The way that I'm speaking right now, okay, it's more of an authoritative manner. It's more of an authoritative manner. It's my tone, it's my pacing, it's my control. Do you guys think that what I'm sharing with you guys right now, based off my tone, based off my pacing, and based off how I'm controlling the conversation, that I am confident in what I'm talking about? You sound shaky on the phone call, and you sound like you are not confident on a phone call, your client is not going to want to buy from you. Tone, pacing, and control is everything. Everything. So if you're just showing up on a sales call. You're like, Jalon, I presented to the client. I did everything I needed to do. I went through the presentation. I want to think about it. I guarantee you guys is because of how you're delivering the message. If your client is taking you far left and far right, it's because you allowed them to. You got to be a figure of authority. You have to be confident in what you are sharing. I don't care if you're brand new or if you got 3 calendars like KB. You have to show up as a figure of authority on the phone call. And it does not mean you have to sound rude or you got to be rude. No, that's not what I'm saying, y'all. But people can tell based off of their energy and based off the spirit that somebody's coming with, how confident they are about what they're presenting. If a person is moving way too fast, you ultimately don't trust them because that's just giving scam. Like, have you guys ever seen one of those infomercials on TV before? I don't really watch too much TV, but when I was at when I used to travel to go to Cleveland all the time, my mom used to just drop us off in Cleveland for the summertime and be like, all right, you guys are here for 2 months with your grandma and auntie who crack more jokes than me. You guys are here for a few months. And when I used to watch these shows, these old shows, because she did not want to buy freaking cable. She believed that she could only survive off 8 channels. And she could. She used to watch the Food Network, okay? The Food Network. We used to watch the Food Network. Now, I could, at the age of 6, I could cook up a nice enchilada. And then we flipped and started watching Law and Order. I'm like, Auntie, how did we just flip from the Food Network to Law and Order within a span of 30 minutes? This does not correlate. And for some reason, the Law and Order was on all day. All right? But to get to my point is this, y'all. They used to have these little breaks, these little commercials in the breaks. And then at the end, the person will start speaking extremely quick, extremely fast. And I always ask my aunt, hey, what did they just say? I don't know, honey. What did they just say? I don't know. I'm like, okay, there's something in them fine lines that they just sped up like that I don't trust them. But some of you guys, when you are presenting to your clients, you sound like that commercial at the end. And you wonder why the client cannot trust you because you're moving too fast. When you can control your pacing, when you can control your tonality, when you can control the rhythm and how you're delivering your message, guys, your client is going to trust you a lot more. You're thinking it's just because of what you're saying. No, 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 no. It is how you are saying it and how you're delivering the message. That is everything. Everything. So how do you be authoritative? Again, you got to focus on your tone and how you're in your delivery. It's your job to guide the call. People want to be led and work with those who are confident and know where they are going. People want to be led to a decision. They want to be led. That is why they inquired about the information. If I show up to the doctor and I am leading the doctor in his job, I'm not going back to that doctor. If I go to a restaurant and I have to show the chef how to cook a steak, chances are I'm not going back to that establishment. Why? Because if I am the one leading it and you're supposed to be the professional, what do I need you for? What do I need you for? But when someone shows up on a call with Tony G, and the minute that the client answers the phone, they hear Tony G's tone, they hear how he comes on, they hear how he delivers the message, they hear how confident he is in his approach. They're like, oh, snap, this is a man of valor. This is a man of authority. I want to listen to him. I want to be led by him. Why? Because of how he's delivering his message. But if Tony G shows up on the phone call squirmish and sounds like not confident and don't know what he's talking about, they are not going to move forward with Tony. And guess what? They're going to be off the phone call just as fast as they answered it. So if you show up shaky on the phone call, hey, Miss John, yeah, so did you request this information? No, click. You have to be a figure of authority from the start of the call. From the start, the minute they answer the phone call, when you get on the phone call with that client, they need to hear that they are speaking to an authoritative figure. Tony, you have anything you want to share on that one?
Great. Yeah, I go for an hour on that one. You know that because you're right. When somebody picks up the phone, you've got you go to Jordan Belfort and get his, the Wolf of Wall Street, his whole thing. You got 7 seconds max.
7, yeah.
7 seconds max before they're going to make up a decision. They're not even making a decision to staying on the phone. They're making a decision whether they're even going to do business with you in 7 seconds. So you've got to be on point. The authority part, this is where it would, triangle of trust. You got empathy, you got authority. Most of you feel if I'm nice enough, and Jalon is saying that almost verbatim the same thing I say. Nobody's telling you to be rude. Correct. I'm just saying you cannot be nice to the customer and have them agree. They have to be led to the decision. Again, we're back to 72 have no insurance. They need something to completely shake up their entire world. And if you just kind of go through and go, well, we're just going to kind of, okay, well, is it okay? Or do you mind if, or stop it. That's why I hate that when we're doing the role playing. I'm like, stop asking permission. Is it okay if I ask you a question? Okay. To Jalon's point, the next time a doctor comes in and says, is it okay if I ask you a few questions? You're going to be like, how else are you going to figure out what's wrong? Right. That's a goofy question to ask. So put yourself in the same authoritative. Jada's on here and doing the same thing. I listened to her. She goes to Nick, did the same thing. What did Nick say? Yell? I don't remember what she said, but basically I said the same thing. Like, that is not Jada. I don't know what that introduction is, but that's not you. You need to get up, get excited, raise the volume. They need to know they're not talking. You sound like you're 12. I'm not going to do business with a 12-year-old. Come on, So.
She does sound like she's 12. All right, she does sound like she's 12. She does. All right.
But especially when she's like, okay, all right. I'm like, stop that. You are not, that is not Jada. Yeah. I know she can smack down if she needs to.
100%. Now, the second thing is this when it comes to being a figure of authority is set proper expectations, right? I call this setting the table, right? Now, in the script, I have 2 setting the tables. I have one at the end of my discovery where I tell them exactly what's going to be needed. Shout out to Tony G. I set the expectation and set the table up front. I tell them exactly what I need. And the reason why it's after my discovery, y'all, is because by that time, I then got that client emotionally invested into the product. And if they decline moving forward after I set the table, everything that I just mentioned, if I did a great job, they are not serious about changing their life. Now, if you did not find out the four things that we talked about in the discovery, and you go to set that table, and the client says no, that is not the client's fault. That's your fault. Because you didn't figure out all the four things. You didn't get them into an emotional state to want to purchase. It literally took one line for my niece to be like, with her googly eyes, look at me like, Uncle Jalon, do we really have to wait 60 minutes for us to ride the roller coaster? And my goofy nephew is sitting in the back looking at me laughing because he know I'm about to go buy these passes. They brother and sister, y'all. No,
He
sweetie,
played
we
his
don't have
cards
to
right.
wait. We don't have
He
to
he
wait. We don't have
he
to
did
wait
he
the
didn't go
60.
ask it. He sent her to go ask. That's what happened.
Yeah.
He's
No,
not
we don't
dumb.
have to wait the 60 minutes. Guess what? When I put that wristband on her arm, she was so happy, right? But we got to set the table. So I set the table after the discovery, okay? And then I also reset the table in the close. Like before I show quotes, I reset the table in the close. And the way that I do that is typically if a client has budget expectations or health expectations that I need to overcome, I set the expectation properly there. So for instance, if a client's like, yeah, I want $100,000 in coverage, and I find out that they're 72 years old and their budget is $200 a month. Well, guess what? I'm gonna set that proper expectation. I'm gonna tell him, hey, Mr. John, we can definitely get you the $100,000 in coverage. However, based off your budget and your age, your diabetes, your congestive heart failure, and all these other things, I am blaming it on something. I'm blaming it on something. You're going to have to increase your budget quite a bit. Is that something that you are willing to do? Right? I set the proper expectation. Some people transition to the close without setting the expectation properly. And then guess what? They get to the end and then they wonder why their client says, oh, I want to think about it. You didn't lay the foundation, set the table properly. Okay. If you guys are using the script that we created, it's already there for you. You guys can literally just go and reference it. Okay. Let me breeze through this last one. Number 4, have an effective close process. Okay, have an effective close
Mm.
process. Yes, the discovery is where the sell is made. But a lot of agents, they actually lose the sell in the close as well because they become extremely transactional. They can see the light at the end of the tunnel. They're like, oh, I'm about to get out. And then they become extremely transactional. Don't become a new person because Miss Betty says she can pay $250 a month and you're excited because you know you're about to get paid $2,000. Do not do that. Keep your calm authority the entire way. Okay? And don't be like smiling left chin, like cheek to cheek, because the client said they're about to be paid $300 a month. Okay? So here are some fundamentals for how to have an effective close process. Number 1, figure out the client. I like to figure out the client's budget, right? I always ask the client what their budget is, and I don't show quotes past their stated budget. Okay, that's me. Other people, they probably don't show budget. They don't ask for the budget. That's me. Again, I want to be able to figure out what their budget is. And I want to tell them, okay, cool. Here's what we can do. And even when I'm giving budgets, I'm throwing out ranges. Okay, Mr. John, if we could be able to take everything for, let's say, $150 to $200 a month, is that extreme for the budget or is that affordable? Okay. Is that extreme for the budget or is that affordable? And they're either going to talk me and say, yes, it is affordable or it's not. Hey, you know your budget way better than I do. What do you absolutely not want to go above per month? They're going to say, well, Jane, I don't want to go past $300. So now they went up. Or they're going to say, well, Jane, I really don't want to go past $100 a month. Perfect. And I am going to focus on their budget. I'm not going to show options past that. Number 2, you choose the company to take the client through. Don't allow for the client to tell you what company to take them through. I don't go to the doctor if I have something wrong with my knee and be like, yeah, doc, can I get prescribed this medication? My mom said she was on it and it helped out a little bit. No, here's the medication that you're going to take. You choose the insurance company for the client. Some of you guys think that the client is looking inside your insurance toolkits.
Right.
Tony, they think the client is standing over their shoulder
Yeah.
looking at, I see that Mutual of Omaha for $3, 3 cents cheaper. Oh, is that Foresters? That Foresters are showing up at 89 in compared to 92? Guys, they are not looking at that. And let me let you in on a little secret. A client is not going to change their policy out in most instances because they can get something for $4 cheaper
If you do your job.
if you do your job. They're not. I had somebody hit me up the other day about, hey, I can get you cheaper car insurance. I don't want to feel like going through the process. Even if it's a $20 deficit, I do not feel like going through the process of changing. I don't want to sit on the phone call for long when I need to, and I don't want to give out my credit card information again. I've already went through that process. Stop feeling guilty for getting your client a life insurance policy based off what they qualify for. Choose one company and rock with that company for that client. The next thing, you want to reshare the client's reasoning from the discovery. I like to do a full recap of what they told me. The main points. I'm talking about the main key points that they share with me. I'm recapping them right before I show quotes. Why? Because I want to get them back into that emotional state. And I want them to agree that these are their issues. I want them to agree that these are their issues. And then I am going to share my options with them. Recap everything. I'm talking about the specifics. If yours sounds something like this, it's not a good recap. If you're just like, hey, Miss Betty, so I know you had shared with me a little bit earlier that you experienced a funeral, and you have no life insurance in place, and you've been looking for the last 3 months, and that's what got you thinking about insurance, correct? That is awful. It's not good. You did not do a good enough job in your discovery. It should sound something more like this. Hey, Miss Betty, I know since we've been talking, you've shared with me that your biggest concern is leaving your son, Jonathan, with the financial burden because you experienced the funeral of your grandma who passed away last year, and you guys had to pay out of pocket and do a GoFundMe and fish fry, and it left you financially devastated and embarrassed because you guys didn't have the money to pay for it. And you want to make sure, if I'm hearing you correctly, you want to make sure that your son does not have to experience the same pain that you went through because of your loss. Is all that accurate? Do you guys hear the difference? That is how you know somebody had an effective discovery when you can dive into the details on that. If yours just sound vague and plain, your discovery was off. So reshare the client's reasons, the real reasons, and get them to answer yes. After you show your option, this is very important for you to be quiet. Be quiet. You show your 3 options, be quiet, let them choose an option. And then, like Tony said, assume the sale. Don't ask is, hey, Mr. John, is it okay if we go ahead and start the application? Huh? Huh? What do you say? What do you say? Do not do that, right? What are we doing? Assume the sale. They choose an option. I'm going to hit them with one more question, and then I'm going to assume the sale. So let's say they go with $100 for $13,000 in coverage. Now, Mr. John, that's not going to take any food out the refrigerator, is it, partner? No. Excellent. Who's going to be your beneficiary? I am transitioning straight to the application or the third page on the client worksheet. I am not asking them, is it okay if we start the application to get you approved? For me, I don't even tell them we're about to start the application because
Correct.
my mind is
Correct.
this. When they answer the phone, our entire process, they already thinking that we started the application. Don't shoot yourself in the foot by saying, what do you think we started an application today, Mr. John? Like, no, do not do that. All right, so that concludes our call today. Tony, before we conclude, is there any pointers or anything you want to give before we conclude?
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. I'm because I'm, an old fat guy. My thing is uh, food oriented. That I'm like, you can be good in this business if you got to make a sandwich. Your opening is your base. Your top piece is the close. Same thing. Having a process that gets out of the questions, out of the, just having a conversation and into the application seamlessly without them even knowing it. And heavens, don't say, yeah, we're going to start the application now. I mean, let's just take all the air out of everything at that point. It should just be a natural flow. I do the same thing you do. Here's your 3 options, blah, 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 blah. Which check do you want little Johnny to have? The 5, the 10, or the 15? They pick one, like you've done a great thing for little Johnny. You know how this works. I need your driver's license.
Easy.
And we're in. And then we're just going through, and I'm going to bring up something in the past because I can't type fast. So tell me again about, little Johnny. You said you got a grandson. He scored 4 touchdowns the other night. What, and I get them talking as I'm typing and jump in with a question here and there. And just, it should be seamless when we're going through it. 100%.
1000%. Great job. Great job. That's incredible. I love that. All right, guys. So you guys got it today. Okay. You got the 4 fundamentals to help you close more deals. But that does conclude our call today. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with somebody who you know needs some help with closing. Because I promise you, I put my niece on the phone, they can help her. Okay. We'll see you guys next Monday and we'll take care. Okay. See you guys in a little bit.